When people are preparing for immigration, there is talk about the paperwork, jobs, language, adaptation, survival. But nobody ever talks to you about grief across borders. The phone call, the funeral that you will not attend, the goodbyes that you're going to have to do across a screen, the grief that asks you to keep on surviving, keep on functioning, even while your heart is elsewhere. Welcome to Grieving from a Distance, a safe and non-judgmental place for conversations for those carrying loss across borders, across responsibilities, across silence and survival. My name is Pastor T. Each week, we'll gently explore the realities of grief within diaspora and immigrant communities. The grief that we speak about out loud, and the grief we quietly carry alone. Sometimes we grieve not only the person we lost, but the goodbye we never got. The years altered by migration, the funeral we could not attend, and the parts of ourselves that never had space to fully mourn. Many people are functioning every day while carrying unprocessed sorrow beneath the surface. Some are afraid that if they truly open to their grief, they may drown in it. They fear that it might dishonor their faith, or some fear they may never recover. But grief, my friend, is not a weakness. And healing does not mean forgetting. Healing helps us learn how to live with loss in healthier ways without allowing it to completely consume us. So, wherever you are listening from, and whatever loss you may be carrying, thank you for being here. This podcast was born from conversations that I have had with people over the years, particularly people from the diaspora, or rather people who are in the diaspora. People who are functioning every day while carrying grief that was never fully acknowledged, grief that never fully processed, and sometimes never even given permission to exist. Many of us learned how to survive immigration, but very few of us were taught how to grieve while far away from home. For many immigrants and diaspora families, grief does not arrive in ideal conditions. It arrives while you're trying to maintain your immigration status, while you are navigating the immigration system, while trying to keep your job, while raising children, while sending money home. For some of us, while pretending to be okay, because everybody thinks you are the one who made it overseas. Sometimes there's no space to fall apart. Sometimes there is not even space to mourn properly. Sometimes there's not even space to mourn properly. So some people attend funerals through video calls. Some received devastating phone calls and still had to report to work the next morning. Some never got to say goodbye. And some could not travel because of various reasons. Still in immigration process, certain documentation not in place, finances, responsibilities, or fear of not being allowed back into the country. And yet, life keeps moving. Bills still come. Children still need you to be present. Work still expects productivity. The world often does not pause for your grief, especially immigrant grief. One of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast is because I believe many people are carrying unspoken sorrow quietly beneath the surface. And sometimes we convince ourselves that because we survived it, we must be okay. Because we survived it, we must be healed from it. But survival and healing are not always the same thing. Some people have never truly had the opportunity to sit with their grief safely because they were too busy surviving. How I know this? All too personal. I know that reality personally. I have lived it over and over and over again over the last 3 or so decades that I have been living in the diaspora. I also think that people are afraid of grief. People are afraid that if I grieve, if I finally open the door to it, hey, I may never recover. They are afraid that the grief will drown them emotionally, that they will drown emotionally. They are afraid that they will become weak. They are afraid that their faith will somehow fail them. But acknowledging grief is not weakness. Acknowledging grief is often the evidence that love existed. And healing, again, does not mean forgetting. You're not forgetting your loved one. Healing helps us learn how to carry loss in healthier ways without allowing it to completely consume us. So this space is not about pretending to have all the answers. It is not therapy. It is not about forcing people to move on. It is simply a place for honest conversations about grief, about migration, about identity, survival, faith, family, and healing. Especially the kinds of grief people carry quietly. Now, if you are listening today and there's grief you have never fully spoken about, grief you buried beneath responsibility, grief that is hidden beneath strength, grief that is hidden beneath survival, I want you to know this. Your grief deserves compassion too. Extend grace to yourself. So, I want to encourage you today to think about what loss have you survived without ever truly having space to mourn it. Now, for some, healing may begin with simply acknowledging that grief exists. For others, it may look like journaling, talking with someone you trust, allowing yourself to feel what you have had to suppress for so long. And for some, seeking professional support may also be an important part of the healing journey. Thank you for spending this time with me. Wherever you are listening from, and whatever loss you may be carrying, you do not have to carry it alone. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself. God bless you.